And so Judy, give a quick shout out to Judy Richardson, our
Oh, no, just to say,
yeah.
I'm sitting here writing, trying to figure out how do I put all of this wealth of information that you are giving us into this piece. Anyway, you don't know who I am, but I adore all that you said, and you're so clear. And I just emailed Deborah, you don't talk academic squish. Can I just appreciate that? It is so clear, logical, and I understand every word you're saying. Much appreciation. Thank you.
And I'm sure Dr. Crenshaw knows Judy Richardson,
No, she doesn't. No.
series associate producer of Eyes on the Prize, SNCC veteran, hands on the freedom plow. So
yeah.
Much appreciate. Thank you.
Judy, thanks for
Keep
being
the
with
music
us.
going, honey.
Which I use in my classes.
Oh, do you really?
I absolutely do.
Oh my goodness, I'm one of the editors. I'm one of the 6 editors. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, we had a conversation with Rachel down at Dream Defenders, and Rachel, and Dee Dee of BYP 100. And it was like a 2-hour conversation. It was so wonderful. I didn't think I'd make it for this because I had to do a watch before our first annual SNCC Legacy annual board meeting that starts on Thursday. First time in 3 years, we're all getting together. I can't believe. Oh, it's so wonderful.
Where are you getting
right here in DC. We're bringing people in. You know, we lost some people, and so it's like this is.
Does Diane Nash come?
No, she's not actually on the board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I've been trying to interview her forever.
Oh, have you? It's hard to get to Diane.
Yeah, and it's important to get her story.
Well, she keeps saying, look, when we were doing Eyes, she said, well, I'm not sure I want to talk to you because I'm going to do, my own book. Well, that was 1989. Okay.
It's time. It's time.
It is time. But it's also
Eyes on the Prize is a gift. It is the way my students in this generation can connect with their history. So I teach it, and then I teach the cases that are implicated in the Eyes on the Prize. It's brilliant. My favorite ain't scared of their jail.
That's right. Yes, Diane, and that's right. That's right.
Oh, and Judy came up with a name for the series, right?
Yes, I did because Henry Hampton had another name. It was America, We Loved You Madly. And I was the first paid employee that came on in 1979 when we thought
that
it was
would have been a whole different situation.
Oh, honey. Yes. So I still have the memo, 1979. When we finally got a team in, I said, look, y'all know how much I hate the current working title. So pick another thing. So I put all the freedom songs I knew. And number 6 was Eyes on the Prize. And then at the very end, there was number 23, and it said, they beat and kicked us. And we sang freedom songs anyway, and it didn't matter. Whatever, however I did it. I put a little asterisk. I said, but that's my favorite. But he didn't pick that. He picked number 6, which was Eyes on the Prize.
Yeah. And then with the animation that turns into I think that's good enough, right?
That's good enough
for that sentiment, right? The animation is good, but keep your eyes on the prize. Oh my God, I just love that. That's at the end of Ain't Scared of Your Jails, when Leonard said, you know how they tell your parents that it hurts me more than it hurts you? Every time there are tears in my students' eyes, tears in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know that he almost didn't do that because Orlando Bagwell, who was the one who did it, it turned out that he had never told this even to his kids. That's the whole thing about passing it on. His kids didn't even know. And he was at that time unemployed. And so they're seeing him as somebody, he's sitting around at the house. They saw this, and it's like a whole different thing. I mean, it was just, and of course he got back up again. It was okay. But the main thing was he had not shared this with his kids. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's the jailer.
And did you read Dennis's son?
Oh, Dave. Yes, Dave Dennis.
Was that it's amazing.
I know.
Not only do they look just alike, but just alike. It's like the story just is incredible because the eyes of you guys have him at the funeral and all that. That's and then you get to see the rest of the story.
God damn their eyes, he says. God damn their eyes. That's right. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. Because I'll tell you, it used to be, you could, as a teacher, you could go on Facing History and you could get free streaming, but his sister and the lawyer, I won't go into it because we've been up and down. Anyway, but the second series is even more relevant than the first in many ways. Because you had that.
Are you involved in this last one?
Yeah, I was one of the 3 Eyes on the Prize advisors. So I and Callie and John Else.
Okay.
Yeah. And as they asked again, what title? And so John had suggested No Justice, No Peace. But then I was asking about, oh, come on, Judy. Ms. Baker's speech. See, it's too late in the day and I've had to, okay.
No, I have it too.
No, but you talked, honey. You're supposed to not, yeah. Name of the, Ms. Baker's speech.
The one that's the song, the Sweet Honey song,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what's the Sweet Honey song with Miss Baker? Someone in our audience.
We
here.
who believe in freedom.
Yes, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So
somebody.
I put it in. So and Dawn Porter is the EP, the exec producer. So I emailed back and I said, I love, No Justice, No Peace. But the other thing is if you could tie it to a freedom song, and how about, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. And then, but it's too long. And, but then Dawn Porter immediately wrote back and said, oh, I like that one. So they may have it. And of course, we start our things with Resistance Choir singing it, which is, oh my gosh. So we're going to do that with our board meting.
Brilliant.
Oh, I love the Resistance Choirs.
Yes,
Judy,
love
who's going to
them.
be, let Dr. Crenshaw know who's going to be at the meeting.
Oh, yes. Well, Cortland Cox and Cleve Sellers and Joyce Ladner and Karen Spellman and Dottie Zellner. And Zohara is going to Zoom in. And then Bruce Hartford, who does Crim Vets, which is now called something else, but all those documents on civil rights movement docs, he's zooming in.
Charlie?
Of course, Charlie Cobb. Yes. And just, we're going to have a full house. And then Dee Dee is coming in because she's going to have a meeting here. So Dee Dee from BYP 100 is going to join us on Friday, as will Organizing Black. So Trey's going to come in. So we're pumping with since about 2014, we've had this relationship with the young people through a couple of Duke projects. And so a lot of them, we did a 2015 voting rights conference at Alicia Garden. A number of people came in. Anyway, too much. Sorry.
To have you collaborate with the Zinn Ed Project, and we've learned so much from your work and your life struggle.
No, honey, you teachers go in there every day. That's what's so impressive to me. Every single day. And during Zoom, did you all see the brief but spectacular piece that was on PBS NewsHour? It was a teacher, and you are right, Deborah, because I was mentioning it to Deborah. It breaks your heart. This teacher who frames it absolutely. She talks about what Zoom does to teachers, that they don't have the support. She is leaving the teaching profession. She is absolutely the kind of teacher that you want in there. And it was on last week. She comes from this, her father was a teacher, she is the kind of person you want in that classroom, but she's not getting the support. And anyway, so I just am so in awe when I'm with teachers, because it's like, it's amazing.
Right on.
What was the phrase that you use, Kimberly? The thing of democracy, it was like depository democracy. You said something, there was a phrase.
My team will tell you, you got to catch it when it comes out. I don't have a rewind button. I was like, what was that? So they'll tell you. They have to it's like, who is taking that down?
You didn't mean Redeemer constitutionalism, did you, Judy?
No, not that one. There was something where she mentioned that it was that public schools are the laboratory. That's it. Laboratory. Yeah. Oh, I need to write it down. Laboratory. That's it. Yes.
I need to do that too.
That's right.
Well, Judy, I dropped my email in the chat. So
good. Oh, good.
Send me an email. I would love to continue this conversation.
Absolutely. And now I'm trying to find what happened to the chat.
Judy, we'll get it to you, Judy.
Oh, good. Thank you.
We'll take care of you. Yeah.
Yes.
What a fun after party.
I know. This has been the fire after party.
When you were talking about Reconstruction too, because I'm directing the Frederick Douglass film for the National Park Service site here at Cedar Hill. And
Oh,
I actually agreed to lose one scene because it's only 23 minutes, right?
Yeah.
The last one was up for 38 years. So it's like, you got to get this right because it's going to be up
I'm
another
jealous. Right.
38 years. But I decided I would lose the Temple Tabernacle. Anyway, I lost one scene and gave it up. And the team knew what that meant because it was a scene I really loved, because I said, we have got to get 1850 in here. And so the Fugitive Slave Act. And so and Hassan is one of the folks speaking. So Hassan and somebody you would know from Wellesley, I'm blocking on her name. Okay. Anyway, she's also one of the interviewees, but we have 1850 in there. And so when I'm listening to you talk about
Erica Dunbar.
Say what?
Erica Dunbar, Dr. Dunbar.
No.
Okay.
Oh, dear. Young Black scholar. She has red braids now. Okay, I can't call it. I can't
Who's
call
got
it.
red braids, y'all?
And now it's like phone a friend.
Crowdsource.
That's right.
The New York Times, like,
No, she teaches. She's tenured. She's an associate professor at Wellesley.
Not Nicole Hannah-Jones.
No,
she's
she's at Howard. Let's see. Let me think. How would I know this? I would know this. Okay, keep talking. I'm just gonna look at it.
It'll be the follow-up. We can come back and we can send it in the follow-up email.
Oh, that's easier.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll send it to you. I'll send you her name. Yeah. But I was so glad that you mentioned Reconstruction and pulled it out so beautifully.
Do you know the story of Prigg versus Pennsylvania, the slave what was it? Assuming it was her first name, Marcella Morgan?
No.
She's this was the case where the Supreme Court.
Right. I'm sorry. Kelly Carter Jackson. Thank you.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Red braids. Yeah.
This is the case where they upheld the Draconian Fugitive Slave Act that rendered unconstitutional all the Free State efforts to protect Black people from being captured. And I've always thought this is a great story to do a script around. It's a Black woman who was allowed to leave Maryland. She moved to Pennsylvania, had 2 children with her husband. Her original owner's son-in-law, who inherited from his wife all of his wife's parents' property, discovered that there was this enslaved person that had never been emancipated, and realized that there was money to be found in going and finding her. So he gets this slave catcher to go find her, discovers that she has 2 children, captures her, and Pennsylvania won't let them take her, goes all the way to the Supreme Court. A liberal Supreme Court justice basically says that that the protection that Pennsylvania is given cannot be constitutional, because the slave owners have a constitutional right to a process to their returned slaves. So they take her and her 2 children and send her south. She and her children are never heard from again, but the husband raises money to go south to buy them out of enslavement. He's found on a riverboat with all this money. They accused him of stealing it.
Yes.
They chained him and threw him overboard.
And I heard the last part of that. I had not heard the beginning of it.
Yeah, it's Margaret Morgan. Yep.
Margaret
Margaret
Morgan.
I think that's a story.
Oh, yes, it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
And what year does this happen?
Has to be what? Do we think 1850-ish?
So around the Fugitive Slave Act. part.
1842.
So when we talk about emancipation, and especially emancipation for Black women, it has to include not just the right to sexual autonomy, the right to our children. It has to include all of the ways that rationalizing breeding us turned on an ideology of us not having sexuality that we had the right to protect. And if that's part of enslavement, we've never been emancipated from that. That's never been a national project to recover and recapture.
We have to tell these stories. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
This is fun.
I don't think I told you guys, but I just got back from Mississippi because my dad recently discovered the plantation our family had been enslaved on. And we just had the unbelievable experience. He found my great-great-grandmother, Laura Lenoir, had been enslaved on this plantation in Morgantown, Mississippi. And we actually got to go stand where there was one headstone left in the graveyard for the enslaved, where our ancestors were buried, and do a ceremony for them.
Wow.
And so, these stories that we've all been robbed of what their lives were like are just so precious.
That's right.
And that was driven home for me, standing right there and reconnecting.
What a beautiful,
Yes.
opportunity.
That's right.
It was unbelievable. I can't even figure out how to describe it yet.
Does your family still have a homestead there? Does it still have the land?
No, none of it's left. There was a small piece of land that after emancipation and during Reconstruction, they managed to get and donate to a church that's still there. So we were able to actually visit family that have maintained that church since Reconstruction.
Wow.
We'd never met before. So that was unbelievable as well.
See, one of my favorite stories is the Drapetomania story, which I didn't know anything about this until we did Slave Catchers, Slave Resistors for the History Channel. And then the writer came up, Drapetomania is what the enslavers had a term.
The disease
for all of these
the
people who are
disease.
freedom seekers, right? They're freedom seekers. They're trying to get out of this torture. And so the enslavers are saying, oh, they must have some kind of mental illness, because why would they try and escape? Oh, that's Drapetomania.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just learned about that myself. They think
same.
it's a disease to want to be
Same.
free. They still do.
Exactly. That medical.
What does that tell
racism.
you about the baseline assumption about us to suggest that there's a disease
Yes.
that is constituted by our desire to be free, that is a disease to be free? Our
Right.
natural
mental
state-
illness. Yep.
Our natural state is to want to work for someone else. And then we're told that we're lazy with only people who work for free.
Oh,
Oh, good.
Okay, so
Oh,
as it
goodness.
approaches, is it 3 a.m.?
I know.
where you are, Kim?
I know.
yes.
I know.
Yes.
As you can see, give
Wow.
me a good conversation. I'm wide awake. This has been wonderful.
You
Thank
won't
you,
sleep for
everyone.
another 5 hours probably now.
Thank you so much.
But
Thank
gotta
you so
try.
much.